Vikings. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. It is Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Castor. It is Sports Daily. Another Monday full of reaction to a wild and crazy sports weekend. We've got all kinds of fun stuff to get to today. Coming up in just a little bit, Wyatt Thompson, voice of the K-State Wildcats, will join us. We'll get some updates on roster moves for the football program. They're getting ready to play a basketball game for the first time in a while. So we'll get into all of that with Wyatt. We've, of course, got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Take a look at that game, the rest of the NFL, all kinds of good stuff there as usual. It's been a wild and busy sports weekend all across the board. We're happy to take you back through it on a Monday. We're going to give away some HTO later in the program, so make sure you stay tuned for your opportunity to win that. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Man, busy weekend. A lot to get to
always
on the show today. I mean, at this time of year, of course, you're getting into the playoff hunt with the NFL. We're just, a few days away from the first college football playoff round, college basketball. There's so much to get to on the show today.
Looking forward to it. Of course, we've got college basketball from the weekend to get to as well. The Shockers suffer their second loss of the season in a pretty curious game that we'll dig into a little bit later. KU bounces back, right, probably where they should be in that game that they played. So we'll get into all of it. The IHOP hotline is open for you at 869-1240. It's brought to you by IHOP, official breakfast partner of Xbox. Come in and try our decadent, fully loaded French toast only at IHOP. Tommy, the Chiefs, always front of mind on a Monday when they play on a Sunday, that is, which they won't do for a while here now as their schedule gets a little wacky. But here we go. Look, it's a big win yesterday. It is by far the best defensive performance we've seen in a while, which was really, really encouraging. One basically busted play in the game, or you're pitching a shutout. So that part of it was fantastic. Like, to see the defense play that way. On paper, we see the running backs with their biggest workload in a very long time, 27 carries for the backs. We wish they would have had more late in the game on a couple of back-to-back possessions when they should have been trying to run the clock, but they didn't get it. And I think the biggest news, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes has a bum ankle now. We'll have to see how that goes. It's kind of ironic that in the game they finally do start running the ball again is the game that what we've feared ends up happening, and he gets busted and hit on a play and ends up with a high ankle sprain. So there's a lot to take away from yesterday's game, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that was holistically the best they've played in a while.
It was, and you have to also keep in mind that, they took on Jameis Winston, who is going to turn the ball over, and he did, to the point to where the Browns and Kevin Stefanski made a change and went to Dorian Thompson-Robinson to close out the game. And, so it's not like they were out there, playing Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. They were playing Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So, obviously you got to keep that in mind for sure. Nick Chubb exits the game with a broken foot. And you mentioned the one broken play, with Jerome Ford. And it's one of those things that, you don't want to give up the home run play if you're Kansas City's defense, but it was really one bad play. Other than that, the defense played really well for the most part. So, I do think that is important to keep in mind for sure, that not to rain on the parade of the way that the Chiefs holistically played, but they were playing Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yep, they were. But guess what Jameis Winston's been doing lately, right? Guess what? He turns the ball over, but he has been doing things that when you watch the way the Chiefs defense had been playing, you worried a little bit about, which was basically throwing it all over the field. A little less so against Pittsburgh, but you're talking since Jameis Winston, became a starter, he has just piled up passing yards, which, for the Chiefs is potentially problematic based on what we've seen, lately out of that secondary. So I don't want to lose sight of the fact that they handled an offense that had become this high octane offense under Jameis Winston. Yeah, he turns the ball over. It's good to see the Chiefs turn the ball over too, because they hadn't been doing enough of that either. It's good to see them put pressure on a quarterback, which they did. Furious George Karlaftis was great in the game, quite frankly. They handled, and I know Mahomes got hurt. They handled a good pass rush for the most part. Joe Thuney, I thought, and we'll have to get with Dan Israel on this, certainly looked the best we've seen at left tackle. And I don't know when DJ Humphries comes back, but at least that provides this option now. Maybe that's something you move forward with. And we get into all of this when we break the game down, and we will throughout the show today. But now all eyes are on Patrick Mahomes and that high ankle sprain. Now we know he's Gumby. By all accounts, he could have come back into the game if he wanted to, and I believe that. But now begs these questions of what do you do if you're Andy Reid and Mahomes and the Chiefs? How do you handle this? Because they have 2 games in hand against Buffalo, 3 games to play. It's a weird schedule. And what do you do? I would personally put him on ice, right? Until he's fully ready to go. I would at least sit him this week, and I might sit him the next 2. And if you can get a win with Carson Wentz at quarterback, then you've secured home field, right? You got 2 games. You're ahead 2 games on the Bills.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would do that this weekend if Mahomes is ready to go. I would want to clinch. I'd want to clinch that 1 seed and then put him on ice. Now, that's all assuming that he is okay to play this weekend. And I know that you've got a short turnaround time from Saturday to Wednesday. I think the most ideal situation is for the Chiefs to get him ready, assuming he can go, get him ready for Saturday's game against the Texans at home, have them clinch the 1 seed, and then the Christmas Day game at Pittsburgh, and then the last game of the season, he's on ice at that point. And then let him rest until you get to the playoffs. That's what I would do if you can get him ready to go. And I promise you, that's the plan. Like, that's what they're going to try to do, is get him. I mean, they're not going to enter into this week with the thought of, let's just go ahead and put him on ice. Now, if they have to, they will, but that's not going to be the ideal situation.
So what do they have? Let's look at the playoff picture here. You've got 2 wins ahead of the Bills. They obviously can't tie you. So if they go to 14-1, I suppose they could lose the last 2. So they can't lose 2 of 3 if the Bills win out. I think you'd be better served.
You got to get one more win. You got to get one. And if you can get it this weekend, that's great.
Yeah, and you'd be, the Bills, they get to play the Patriots twice and the Jets. So the chances that they lose are unlikely. So yeah, look, you're going to have, you can't tie them. So even if they get 1 win and they go 14-3, if the Bills go 14-3, you'd lose the tiebreaker. So you really do need 2 wins. That's far less important to me though than making sure Mahomes is healthy. And again, it's Mahomes. He's Gumby. We know that. If he's fine, then whatever. Then it's all irrelevant. I think he's fine big picture. But the question becomes, see, to me, if it's even in question, I would rather not play him this weekend and get the full 10 days of rest and have him back for Pittsburgh.
And then you have to win your last 2. You have to win on the road at Pittsburgh.
If you don't beat Houston.
Right. With Carson Wentz at quarterback. Nothing against Carson Wentz. He might be one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL at this point. But, I would rather Go ahead and get it done as early as possible. See if there's a way that you can clinch that 1 seed. You would need to win. Buffalo would need to lose this weekend. Clinch that 1 seed before Christmas, before that Christmas game. And then it becomes a pretty relaxing Christmas. You don't have to really worry about it. And that last game of the regular season, then you've got that long rest, and Mahomes gets more like 3 weeks or even longer to rest and all of that. For me, it's, I know that we can talk about the short term, like what do things look like for the Chiefs moving forward. I do think that this is something that we've been concerned about for a long time, and everybody's been concerned about for a long time, and that's Mahomes getting injured because he's dropping back far too often. And I know that you mentioned the overall workload with the running backs, and that's great. But when it mattered the most, like in the third and fourth quarter, when they had a lead, they needed to milk the clock. There were a couple of drives where they took like 10 seconds off the clock on each drive by dropping back. Then you have Mahomes going forward on a fourth down that was kind of unnecessary. And then ultimately he gets hurt on that fourth down incompletion. I mean, he had a stretch of like 8 incompletions in a row in the third quarter that was completely unnecessary. So this is what we've been concerned about for a long time with him. Yep. And it came to fruition. And, it's almost laughable at this point. I know we're going to talk a whole lot more about it as the show goes on, because we could talk about how they move forward, but man, like that's disappointing that it ended up getting that direction.
Here's the other part that's a little concerning. If he is nicked up and not 100%, you're facing 3 really good pass rushing teams in those 3 teams that you play with. Really, we
don't know about TJ Watt. I mean, he exited the game.
He did exit the game.
The Steelers last week. We don't know how severe.
Yeah, we got to see his. But Houston rushes the passer well. Obviously, Denver. We remember the Denver game prior. What concerns me is they're labeling it a high ankle sprain, right? Not just like he rolled his ankle. And that is a long term. And again, one of Mahomes' great abilities is his ability to stay on the field and have that endurance, whatever you want to call it. We'll get into this when we make our way through this first hour and probably into the second hour as well. When we return, though, no more DJ Giddens. It might appear. I've got to dig into that, some of the roster turnover there for K-State football on the early returns, and what happens with K-State basketball when they finally get back on the floor. We'll have it all covered for you. Voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson, joins us next on Sports Daily.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Your new radio home for K-State Athletics, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. It's that time, Sports Daily, getting all the inside information on Kansas State. Let's go now to the voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson.
And welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor, Wyatt Thompson with us, getting ready for, well, a return of college basketball tomorrow night. Finally, feels like a lifetime since the Cats have taken the court. We'll get to that in just a little bit. First, Wyatt, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't go over some of the football roster maneuvering. It's always a tricky time of year, really difficult, quite honestly, at least for me, to try and follow all of this stuff as we get ready for bowls, and you have the transfer portal, and you have the draft declarations coming. And, you know, probably the biggest we'll see is May. DJ Giddens declares for the draft. Now, I don't know what that means for his bowl status, but it looks like he will not be a part of the Cats next year, which certainly is impactful, to say the least.
Well, you said a bunch there, because he really has had an amazing career when you get right down to it. In particular, when you put into perspective how non-heavily recruited he really was. And I mean that with all due respect. He came in here with almost no fanfare, and yet he walks out of here as one of the absolute best running backs to play at a school that's had a whole boatload of really, really good running backs over the last, 30 or so years. And even a few before that. I just love his work ethic, love everything about the guy. It's certainly a blow, but I think I tell you guys this every week, it seems. I'm not the world's biggest X guy or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, but I loved all of the remarks on Twitter. Boy, it's tough, but you're awesome. Go show them how it's done, and best of luck and all of that. And that's the way I feel about it, I guess, is why I bring it up, because he's just a super young human being, and to do what he did here with such little fanfare and still doesn't really care about talking to the media much at all. Really proud of him.
On top of that, there have been some other changes, Wyatt, with wide receiver. Keegan Johnson announced over the weekend that he's transferring. Trey Spivey is entering the portal as well. So it does look like from a skill position standpoint, Chris Kleiman's got some big pieces to replace.
Well, he does. I don't think there's any question about that. And the frustration, I think, with Trey is how well he played and seemed to be really starting to come on, right? Big body kid, really good athlete, all of those kinds of things. Keegan, you can say what you want, but he wasn't the most productive guy during his stay here. But yet, when you study it a little deeper, he probably was one of the more productive receivers K-State has had over the last 2 years. Unfortunately for him, he's had a really difficult time staying anywhere near 100% healthy. I just sat here and I look at the roster for the bowl as we know it today. And I think with the guys that you have left, you have to start with Jace Brown. But they're going to have a Jaden Jackson step up, Ty Bowman, Dante Cephas, all of those guys that have seen the field, but yet maybe a couple of more past that. There's been some speculation. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of a Sterling Lockett or somebody like that. We'll see how that plays, maybe even Andre Davis. There are people there, maybe just guys that haven't necessarily been at the forefront of what K-State has done this year.
Wyatt, I just wonder, what is it? How do you set? Well, how do you play a bowl game, right? Like, how do you get motivated to get it in there? But at the same time, I think about that. It also does present a pretty substantial, I would think, opportunity when you get news like this, where key players who you thought maybe were coming back aren't coming back. You always would like to look internally, which is, I think, what you were just talking about. The reality is they're going to need to supplement through the portal. Yes. But it is nice to sort of get this game, I guess, to put some, to put some resumes out there on display for some of these other players.
This is such a different time, guys, and I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys know this, and I know your listeners know it too, but it's got to be frustrating coaching in this day and age with everything that's going on this way. It started a few years ago, at least from my perspective, with the opt-out of Christian McCaffrey. I'm sure you remember that, and everybody's going, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Well, now it's an everyday occurrence, right? And this month has been quite crazy for these coaches now for a couple of years, and I do think that there needs to be change. But I also agree with you that it is an opportunity for those guys that have flown under the radar a little bit. And you hope that it works for them. They've kind of hung with the program as an example. And I'm more talking about the guys that maybe an Andre Davis, who they really liked from the get-go. He just hasn't had any opportunity. Maybe he will now. I had a conversation the other day with Coach Kleiman, and we were talking about all of the frustrations with the movement of stuff of the players and what have you. But I said to him, are you concerned at all about the Bowls moving forward and the significance of that losing some power? And he said, no. And the reason is because if you look at all of those television windows, these bowl games are all between the 14th of December and early January. And think about all of the time that they're covering up for all of these networks. They're not going anywhere. Let's be honest. They're not. Yeah. But we've got to figure out a better way to, have a lot of these kids play in those games moving forward. That's my idea.
Well, I mean, real quick, Tommy, I can give you the answer to that, Wyatt.
Yeah.
You pay them to play in the game.
Well, that's it. And that's, that's where we're at anyway, Jacob, be honest, that. And I was very optimistic that at some point there was going to be, a settlement, if you will, in the House case. And I think there still will be, but I don't know that it's going to be as quick as we all thought, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a month ago. It's something different about every day, but there needs to be something done and some traction with it to make it a little bit better. I think these coaches will all tell you it's crazy that you're trying to re-recruit your team, be in the portal, and getting ready for a bowl game all at the same time. The only thing that isn't the same and it's probably keeping their sanity is they're not out on the road this month anymore. That was a pretty good change.
Let's talk about getting ready for the bowl game, Wyatt. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to that Rate Bowl. I know it makes it hard to, figure out exactly how things will go in this bowl game with the changes and portal and all of that. But what do you know as far as the key priorities that Chris Kleiman is going to be focused on and getting prepared for Rutgers and the Rate Bowl in a couple of weeks?
Well, I think the message is let's finish strong and let's go with the guys that we have. We've talked about some of the portal guys. Obviously, we don't know if DJ is going to go or not. I don't necessarily expect a whole lot of opt-outs other than that, although I'll be honest and tell you, I think Jacob Parrish is a possibility. I don't know what you guys have heard about that, but I do think it's pretty iffy as to whether he'll go in the bowl game, and that's pretty significant too. I just think when you're preparing for this, up to this point, I guess here's the idea. Up to this point, it's been a lot of developmental stuff, but that changes today. They'll practice this week, and they will leave a week from today in the middle of the afternoon and fly down there and then play on the 26th. And I think they're playing a good football team. But like K-State, they have some things going on. I was visiting with a couple of our media relations guys the other day and talking about their team and what have you. And I asked about their coordinator and said, well, you don't have to worry about him. He's on his way to UMass to be a head coach. I asked about a linebacker. He said, you don't have to worry about him. He's in the portal. Welcome to 2024, boys.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's what is a bowl game now? A bowl game is probably just a fun opportunity for the players and fans to go somewhere cool for a few days. And I mean, we have to be real about it. Unless you're going to pay, because I always tell, like, people always get so annoyed and they're like, oh, well, why don't they play? And I'm like, what if they get hurt? Remember what happened to what was the great Notre Dame linebacker that the Cowboys ended up drafting in the second or third round? Bona fide first round, first half of I can't think of his name, Jalen Smith, and he blows a leg out in a meaningless bowl game and cost himself, now listen, millions of dollars, right? Life-changing money. And so sometimes I think people they're reluctant to, like, just put yourself in that situation, whether you're the young person, whether you're the young person's parent or whoever it is that is giving them advice. Hey, we want you to put everything on the line here. You're projecting out as a high draft pick. Go play in this game in Phoenix that nobody will ever remember. That means nothing. It's an exhibition game. It's an exhibition game to everybody, probably, but the coaches who may have bonuses riding on them. What do you expect them to do? So you're going to have to pay them. I don't know. What is the Rate Bowl pay K-State? I mean, do we even know the answer to that?
I'd have to ask. I don't know what the payout is, and I haven't looked, to be honest. But the payout for most of these bowls is pretty significant.
Yeah.
But again, the landscape has changed so much, and I think you said it well. That I mean, like if you're DJ Giddens,
no chance,
and or his agent, you think his agent is saying, "Oh yeah, sure, DJ, go ahead and go play." I don't see any chance of him saying anything, or she saying anything quite like that. Just because the risk is too severe. The shelf life for running backs anyway is relatively small, as we all know. I mean, You hear those guys talking about it every Sunday in the NFL that, we talked about DJ's year, if he does get drafted, will he be 4th round, 5th round, 6th round? I mean, I don't even know. But I don't think they're being drafted as high now as they were many, many years ago. It's just what it is. That there are a lot of them and a lot of good ones. But with that said, though, he's a really good player, and you got to strike when the iron's hot, man. That's just the way it works.
Wyatt, let's talk K-State basketball. It seems like it's a crucial time right now for Jerome Tang's squad. Big week of games that I know we're going to get into here in just a second, but I want to start with some news that happened a couple of days ago. Achor dismissed from the team. Jerome Tang cited conduct detrimental to the team. So he's no longer with the program. And it definitely, like I mentioned just a second ago, it's a crucial time. And this is something that I don't know all the ins and outs of it or all the details surrounding it, but clearly if it's a move like this that Jerome Tang decided to make, clearly he wants to get his team back going in the right direction.
Well, you said a lot there, and I agree with all of it. I think when you're dealing with what he's dealing with, and many are, with so many new faces, it isn't always going to be perfect. And I will preface everything I'm about to say by telling you my small sample size things with that young man were positive. But I do think he struggled with some things within the program and outside of that, including, I'll say, professional and personally. And sometimes it's just easier to cut and move. And I think Coach Tang felt strongly that the team probably needed to move on. So we'll see how that plays. I do think this is a huge week for them on so many levels because they have fought through finals. I think it went okay. That's always difficult. And on top of that, trying to really get on top of a lot of things that have plagued them here lately, rebounding and some of those types of things. They've got to improve pretty quickly here because they're just running out of time. And then, I mean, we're down to the final week of non-con and then conference starts. So hopefully they'll have a good game on Tuesday night over in Kansas City against a really good Drake team. We'll see. We'll see. It's not going to be easy, though. I'm just telling you, this week will be hard, 100%.
I'll ask you this, Wyatt, not because I want to, and only because it's the number one thing I hear from K-State fans right now.
Okay.
Which is, what if this doesn't go well this year for Coach Tang? How much heat will and should there be there? Because last year obviously didn't go the way that anybody wanted. This year there was far more optimism. But if we look back at what ails them, it's creating offense, which was the problem last year.
Right.
And in year one, they didn't really have to create offense because they had two of the best isolation players in the country. That's what I hear from people. Like there appears to be some deficiencies in the way this offense is being created, run, executed, all of these things. I think there's some real pressure here now building this year.
I don't disagree with that. It's more than fair. And like you, from the K-State fans, I'm hearing a lot of the same things. I get phone calls, texts, emails constantly about what's wrong with this and why is it this way. And I think most of that concern is about the offense and what's not totally 100%, but a lot of it is. And I think I will just say it this way, I think Coach Tang feels like that they can get this straightened out and they have enough quality personnel to make it go. But that it hasn't been real fluid up to this point. Does that mean we're in for disaster or they're going to straighten it out? I think that's what everybody's trying to figure out, right? So, yeah, I think you're on task there that, there's, and what happens after this year, I think you have to kind of let this play out a little bit longer, but you're probably going to be asking me that in January and February too, bud, if I'm being honest. And I get it.
But even larger than, Wyatt, even larger than that, I mean, more than just the offense. I mean, I think of Jerome Tang, and he has kind of hung his hat on this as the kind of coach that it's about developing men, right? So even outside of the basketball court. In fact, even in the statement released when Acharacher was dismissed, it was about him developing men to be husbands and fathers and productive members of the community and all of that. He hangs his hat on that. That's where he prides himself. So even outside of the X's and O's and running the offense and getting that to gel, and it's about bringing a team together philosophically, right? It's about improving men rather than being selfish, to bring them together as one. I mean, this is kind of the situation right now when you're looking at this team that, it's NIL and, individuals coming together, where this is kind of where he earns his paycheck, right? To be able to show that he can bring a team like this together.
I love the thought, Tommy, and let's talk about that a little bit, because at the end of the day, I think every coach that's worth his salt at all wants exactly what you just said. I'm not just a basketball coach. I'm a teacher. I'm teaching these young people a lot of different things and teaching them to be good men and people that are, stand-up individuals and good husbands and fathers and all of those kind of things. If you're not, you probably shouldn't be in it, right? And I think he really takes a lot of pride in that. And I think when you have something like this where a chore steps aside or is let go, or however you want to say that, they question everybody and everything. And that's normal. That's human nature. I would tell you, and maybe this is a little bit of my prejudice coming in here too, I don't think they have an issue within the team to where you'd think that they have, infighting, I guess is the proper term here. I think this is a good group of guys that are trying hard, but they've had some issues. We talked about the offense. Let's be blunt. It's not a good rebounding team, and they got to figure some of that out too. I think first shot defense has been pretty good, but if your defense is pretty good for the first shot, but you can't get the rebound, you're going to be in for some trouble. And I think that's where they're at on that side of it too. So it's more than just one thing, and I think that's why there's so much consternation within the fan base. And but he's paid a lot of money to kind of get it figured out. And I think what he's indicated to me and others is I think he feels like these are all fixable things. We'll see if that's the case.
Yeah, and we'll see it tomorrow because they play a team in Drake that, Ken Palm and some other metrics have essentially the same as K-State right now. They're equal or equivalent, at least by the metrics early on. So it should be a good test. It's a T-Mobile Center game there in Kansas City. So a neutral site game should be well represented by both fan bases. 7:00 tip. And of course, you'll hear the game right here on KFH. Enjoy a road game close to home, Wyatt, this week.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of those, Lawrence and maybe a couple of others, but this will be fun. I always enjoy Kansas City because it's such a great basketball venue, but also the history there with all the way back to Big 7, Big 8, Big 12 basketball. It's a great venue and a great city that loves basketball. And I think we're going to be in for a heck of a game. If you guys have not watched Drake, you're going to love the way they play. Exceptionally well coached. 4 of those kids followed Coach McCollum to Northwest and are from Northwest to Des Moines. And I rewatched yesterday their championship game against Vandy, and they are good. They know how to play. It'll be a real challenge.
And then, Wichita, you'll be down in Wichita, in our neck of the woods this weekend.
Yeah, we go from T-Mobile to Coke. That's not bad, right?
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, challenging games, but fun for the old announcer, right? For sure. I'll be honest. I've watched Wichita State 3 or 4 times too in preparing, and I like what Paul's doing. I think he's got an improving team. They've got some length. They've got more depth than they had a year ago by light years, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
I just really like them, and I think they'll be a tough out at their place. There's no question about that.
Yeah, they're missing a key piece trying to figure out how to do that, but that one got away from them a little bit Saturday. We'll talk about that later, but they are improved from a year ago. There is no question about that. Should be fun. We can't wait for them. Wyatt, we appreciate it. You'll hear both of those games right here on KFH.
And I appreciate that, fellas. Great talking to you. Happy holidays. Talk to you next week.
That's right. There goes Wyatt Thompson. We'll get him one more time before the Christmas break. Appreciate that. All kinds of good stuff there from Wyatt. Always appreciate the honesty there from Wyatt. A lot of interesting things happening in Manhattan. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got a little Mitch Holthus Chiefs audio for you. We'll have that, and we will discuss now the dilemma of what to do with Mahomes the rest of the way for the Chiefs. It is a fascinating one, and we'll continue to discuss it next on Sports Daily. Your calls welcome here as well. On the way out, I want to say thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up here on KFH. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12.
Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW.
12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back, everybody. told you about Pepin Suter Remodeling, pepinsuter.com, PEPINSUTER. Go check out their work there. It is the company that did our kitchen remodel this summer. We're glad to have them on board here with Sports Daily. They do fantastic work. Their bids are incredible. Their customer service is incredible. And, by us, for us, they have followed up well beyond the project, a million questions that they've answered. They've come and checked things out for us, make sure everything's okay. But again, for most people looking at any kind of home remodeling project, the big thing is the bid was significantly better than the competition. And I mean significantly. So give them a call if you're looking at that kind of a project. Take their bid. That number, 316-573-6822, Pepin Suter Remodeling. You can check out their work at pepinsuter.com. All right, Tommy, welcome back in here. So the question now becomes, what do the Chiefs do with Patrick Mahomes? Of course, how he's feeling will be a significant factor. This is interesting because you have during and after the game, Mahomes saying he could have come out if he needed to. Andy Reid essentially saying the same thing. He probably could have played if he needed to. They didn't want to take the risk at the moment. Didn't make sense. And I get it. It didn't make sense. But it's a high ankle sprain is what we're also hearing, which we know can keep people out a long time. So it's a little bit confusing in the diagnosis and the optics of his availability immediately in the game. Now, we also know that those things might hurt worse the next day. So a practice report will be meaningful. I don't think any of us would be surprised if Mahomes plays. Again, he's Gumby. Like, that's what he does. He withstands this stuff. The question becomes, do the Chiefs need to protect him against himself to any degree? And I would say the answer to that is absolutely they do, if it's necessary. And so it's going to be a really interesting week. And then there's the strategy of, do you play him now, try to get your win? We know they have to win 2 to clinch it. Do we even care if they clinch home field? I mean, I think you do to some degree, but not as much as you care that Mahomes re-aggravates or injures himself further. This is fascinating. This is fascinating stuff. Like, I don't know what the answer. My gut says put him on ice, let him take the week off and get 10 full days of rest before Pittsburgh. But it's going to be hard to keep him off the field if he thinks he can play.
Yeah, it's home field, but then I think even more importantly, it's that bye, it's that rest, it's being able to not have to play in a wild card round where you can just kind of fast forward right to the divisional round. So I do think that that is important to keep in mind as well. I think best case scenario, obviously, is that he's able to go and that they're able to get a win, and then they're able to beat the Steelers, or Buffalo loses and they have the division clinched by Christmas. That's the ultimate priority. That's the goal. That's what everybody would want to have happen. My qualifier, and I said earlier on in the show that I would like to see him out there if he can go this weekend to play against the Texans and at least lock up one of those victories and then either hope that Buffalo loses or you beat Pittsburgh. My qualifier to that is, and you use the words protect Mahomes from himself. I actually think it's more like protect Mahomes from his play calling and from his offensive line and from everything else that's been going on. Because if the game plan, the game plan against Houston remains what it has been, and I think by all accounts it probably will, then that does, I think, play a factor in it also. Like if we felt confident or comfortable that the Chiefs were like, look, we're going to bring Mahomes out there because he's our best chance to win against Houston, but we're going to alter the game plan to run the ball 35 times or 40 times or limit his dropbacks or make sure that he doesn't get himself killed in the backfield, then I would feel a little bit more confident about him going out there and playing against Houston. And teams do that sometimes. Like if you've got a quarterback that you know you need to protect, they might adjust a game plan to help him and to maximize what he can do. I'm not convinced or confident that the Chiefs will do that. Like the Chiefs are very stubborn in the way that they go about things and the way that they do that. That's Andy Reid. Andy Reid is going to do what Andy Reid does. And I don't care if Mahomes is 100% or 25%, they're going to run their game plan the way that they're going to run their game plan. And I don't think that there would be very many changes, if any, if Mahomes is out there starting at less than 100%.
And that's why I would sit him this weekend, I think.
Don't you think the easier thing, or at least the better thing, would be, all right, Pat, we're going to throw you out there, but we're going to adjust the way we approach this game to help protect you better?
No, because if they're going to do that, I'd just as soon do that with Carson Wentz,
They
right?
would have done
If you're going to take
that weeks ago than doing it this week.
If you're going to run that game plan out there, Carson Wentz can turn around and hand the ball off that many, but he's not. They're not going to do that. They're going to first priority has to be to beat Houston. The real question becomes, can Carson Wentz beat the Texans? And it's a fascinating question. The Texans have lost 4 out of their last 8 games, right? The Texans are not the juggernaut we thought they were. They're good. They're a quality team. They're better than the Browns, certainly. But, are they a team that you can't beat without Carson Wentz? I would say no. I would be surprised, I would tell you, if the Chiefs aren't still favored with Wentz at home against the Texans, if
They're
that's the way
underdogs
it
right
goes.
now. The line opened. They are 2.5 point dogs.
Okay. Well, then I stand corrected. So I'm wrong about that. So Mahomes.
I looked last night. Maybe it's moved this morning, but they were 2.5 point home dogs.
I haven't looked yet, but that surprises me. There aren't many players worth a touchdown, which is what you'd probably think that would be if that's the case. I don't know. I think at some point you can gain something too by saying, hey, look, defense, run game, go win this one for us. And I think that they can, by the way.
The line has been updated. It opened as Houston 2.5 point road favorites. It's moved to now Houston 3 point road favorites. So it's actually moved more towards Houston in that regard. So the Chiefs are currently now a field goal home dogs. I mean, that's Vegas anticipating that Mahomes is not going to play.
I anticipate he's not going to play either. I mean, it just, there's like, if you can get, because here's the thing for me, like if you don't play him and you lose, you get the extra time to rest and you still control your own destiny in the final 2 games. If you do play him and you lose, or he gets hurt, or he's not ready, like you also leave the possibility, Buffalo, who knows? Buffalo lost to the Rams. I know it's the Jets and the Patriots in the last 2, but those are divisional games. You never know. I just, again, it all depends on how Mahomes feels. But if they're calling it a high ankle sprain, that is historically an injury that makes us all cringe, right? Because they take forever. And here's we'll continue the discussion in the next segment. Don't worry. Like if the Chiefs have to go on the road in the postseason, but they have a fully healthy Mahomes, I'll take that 10 times out of 10. They showed that scenario isn't going to hurt them. They won it last year on the road. So I just think when you weigh out all the risks, if Mahomes is 80%, I'm not playing him. Like, unless somehow miraculously he's 100% healthy and there are no side effects. The other thing that we obviously don't know, and our buddy Earl could probably tell us, what is the risk of further injuring a high ankle sprain? Is there one with it heavily wrapped and taped and all those things? Is there risk to re-injure? I don't know the answer to that either. If it's just a pain tolerance thing, then who cares, right? He'll play. We'll continue the discussion. We'll look back and get more into the Cleveland game, look around the NFL as well when we return. All kinds of good stuff coming for you. In hour number 2, we got to talk college basketball from this past weekend. Still plenty to go here. Plus, when we return, some Mitch Holthus audio on that injury as well. We'll get you to all of that. Don't forget Crestview Country Club. They got all kinds of stuff coming up for the holidays. They've got a member appreciation event this week. They've got a New Year's party. They have Christmas brunches. I think, Tommy, you just saw, went and took the kids to see Santa for brunch.
Santa brunch yesterday. It was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff and the great 36 holes of golf and all of that stuff. So give them a call. Tell them we sent you. Crestview Country Club. Happy they're supporters of the program. We're coming back. Hour number 2. More Chiefs talk. We'll look around the rest of the NFL when we return.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
4th down 3 for the Chiefs at the 39. 10th play of the drive at the 39 of Cleveland. 8:01 to go in the game. Chiefs by 2 touchdowns. Mahomes steps up. Jump pass incomplete. The Browns will take over on downs. At their own 39. Juju Smith-Schuster, the intended receiver, and Mahomes, who had the jump pass, he gets up and is limping off the field.
Yeah, I was trying to run up in the pocket. Obviously, 4th down, trying to make a play happen. And as I threw the ball, I kind of got hit, and I haven't seen it, but it felt like someone hit me from behind as well. And so I kind of just got rolled up on. It kind of happens in football. And so tried to bounce back up, but obviously it hurt a little bit. But now we'll just get after the rehab part of it and try to be ready for next week. I feel like I could have finished the game in different circumstances, but I thought the smart decision, I think we talked about, was to put Carson in, and he's played a lot of football, and he finished the game well.
Oh, what do you do? What do you do? Mitch Holthus with the call there. Chiefs Radio Network, as heard over on KNSS. And we have this massive dilemma all week. We're watching the practice reports. We all saw Buffalo yesterday and what they were able to do to the Lions. This is going to be a fascinating week and how you handle it. For the Chiefs, Jacob Albrocht here, Tommy Castro. The IHOP hotline is back open for you the rest of the way. It's brought to you by IHOP, official breakfast partner of Xbox. Come in and try our decadent, fully loaded French toast only at IHOP. We're going to give away some HTO later in this hour. Make sure you stay tuned for your opportunity to win that. So, Tommy, we've been talking about this. Like, what do you do with Mahomes? I think, at the base level, we're going to have to see, how did it feel today? Andy Reid will give us some sound today. We're probably not going to learn a lot, honestly. We don't typically get a lot, but he'll tell us they're going to go through the process, and they're going to look at things and they're going to evaluate it that way, and that they're confident in Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz, and that they look forward to the privilege of playing the Texans and all of those things that we always hear. I think until we see practice actually going and whether or not Mahomes is practicing, we're probably not going to have too good an indication on what will happen. So we're just going to guess for a while, which is okay. It's what we do. We think about these things. It really just, like, at the base level, though, it comes down to the strategy of it, right? We can all assume Buffalo's not losing another game. Yesterday was their opportunity to lose a game. They didn't do it. They were pretty impressive in the process. So probably not going to lose one when you play the Patriots twice and the Jets. So then that means the Chiefs have to win 2. Can they win one of them with Carson Wentz becomes the other question. I think that they can. Let me ask you this. If the Texans are favored right now by 3.5 points at Arrowhead, which side of that would you bet? Because I'd bet the Chiefs and Carson Wentz.
You would take the points.
I would take
home, right? I think I would take the points. Are we talking against the spread or talking about outright?
Just an outright winner. Like, are you even going to, I'd take the Chiefs on the money line. I think the Chiefs at home against a Texans team that has struggled to some degree. Why is that? Let me go a little further into it. Because the Chiefs stopped the run. I know they gave up the one big run play yesterday, but you subtract that one busted play. What do you subtract 62 from 139? They'd have been not even sniffing 100 yards rushing in the game. So the Texans, we know, are built upon the success of Joe Mixon this year. So you like your chances there. I don't like putting Mahomes up against that pass rush, quite frankly. And can they move the offense enough? Yeah, I think they can run the ball. And it's Carson Wentz, right? It's not a nothing burger out there at quarterback. You're talking about a short to intermediate passing game anyway, featuring the tight ends and a quick strike offense. I think I'd take my chances with Wentz, and I think he can beat the Texans.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further. If the Chiefs end up going with Carson Wentz under center for this weekend, then I think not only do you put Patrick Mahomes on ice, obviously, if Wentz is starting, I think you put Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt on ice as well. I think
you can play Hunt, but
okay, I'd maybe give the ball to Hunt a couple of times, but I would run things with Carson Steele and Samaje Perine with Carson Wentz. Because here's the thing: if you're going to run your game plan, and you're not going to have Mahomes out there, then in my opinion, there's no need to have at least your number 1 running back and probably your number 2 running back, at least for a majority of the game. That's what I would do. I would make this, if they're not going to go with Mahomes, I would make this look like the final regular season game, resting starters for the playoffs. That's the way I would make this game.
Treat it like a second bye week. And look,
Absolutely.
I don't think that's totally crazy. My only problem with it is I do still think they can win the game and get home field. If you want to limit Pacheco, I mean, they are limiting Pacheco anyway.
Because what if you start to use and I'm not suggesting this will happen because we know the play calling for Kansas City, but I could see the temptation of, okay, well, if we don't have Mahomes, then we've got to lean more on Isaiah Pacheco, and you give him the ball a whole lot more.
I get what you're saying.
And he isn't able to go.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I think I'd be comfortable with, the typical 10, 12 carry workload with Pacheco. But if you're going to lean on the run game, I agree with you. Lean into the others, right? Give Hunt more carries. And because right now, they are being very cautious with Pacheco. That's pretty clear. Or Kareem Hunt wouldn't still need to get 13 carries in a game. And Hunt was very good yesterday in his revenge game. Don't get me wrong. I would be fine if it were, 12 carries for Pacheco and 19 for Hunt or whatever, whatever you come up with in that game plan. But Carson Wentz can run a quick strike passing offense. I mean, he can. That's why he's there. That's why Kansas City brought him in. Right? Kansas City has had, and think about the history of backup quarterbacks coming into these games for the Chiefs. They've had success to whether it's Chad Henne, whether it's who's the other one that won a playoff game, basically.
Blaine Gabbert, was that who you're thinking of?
No, even earlier than that, Moore. But Gabbert was good too. Yeah, Matt Moore was good. Gabbert was good. So I would tell you that on the surface, Carson Wentz is better than all of those guys. So the point is, it is an offense and a team that has a history of being able to put guys in there to be in position to be successful. And I think they could do that again here. Look, if they came out and they were like, you know what, this is our week 18 game, basically, I don't think I'd agree with that, but I wouldn't be mad at it. But I don't think they need to do that. I think they need to wrap up home field. That would be nice.
Should do that. I mean, and the only way that I'm suggesting that they should do that is if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play. If Patrick Mahomes plays, then it's full speed ahead. Everything's a go. Let's go ahead and win this game. Let's go ahead and get closer to clinching that number 1 seed so we can get a bye and a lot more rest when the playoffs start. Now, if they're like, look, Mahomes can't go, then okay, let's shift, let's adjust, and let's make it like our second bye week.
I think at the end of the day, it feels like you don't think they can win the game with Wentz under center.
It's not about that. I just don't think that's
well, if they can win the game with Wentz under center, though, shouldn't they still try to win the game with Wentz under center?
Yeah, you win the game with Wentz under center and some of your backups. Because let's face it, even in a week 18 game, when starters get rested, and the Chiefs have done this before, you want to tell me they don't want to win that game? They absolutely want to win that game.
It's can they, right? I know they want to.
The very first time that we ever saw Patrick Mahomes in a Chiefs uniform was in that week 18 game against the Broncos, and Alex Smith rested, and the Chiefs won that game. Now obviously that's Mahomes, but I think you can treat it as such and still go out there and try to beat the Texans. Will it be that much more difficult? Sure, it will. But if you've got faith in Carson Wentz, and I've got faith in Carson Wentz and Carson Steele and Samaje Perine, and some of these other pieces, I just think that if you're going to shift away from Mahomes for this game and give him rest, and ultimately that's going to be up to him, the training staff, Andy Reid, all of that, then I think you need to have a contingency plan of, all right, we have to make sure that if Mahomes is not playing, that we still protect the other players that we have and not risk them for the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I would say this. I would on Monday, without very much information at all, I think it'll be Wentz and the rest of the starters, and they'll try to go beat the Texans. That's what I guess will happen. Let's look around the rest of the NFL, because it's all about, with the Chiefs, and we say it over and over and over again, it's all about the Chiefs and can they win the Super Bowl. If they don't have home field, can they win the Super Bowl? Of course they can. They did it last year, and by some metrics, they're a better team than they were a year ago. Not by all, but I would tell you that it's sure encouraging to see the defense play that way against an offense that has been at least productive lately. That was a really impressive defensive performance in a lot of different ways. Their ability to turn the ball over, yes, Jameis helps you there. There's no question about that. But their ability to get to the quarterback, there was a lot there that I think is encouraging and that you like to see. There was a lot to take from the NFL yesterday. You start with the Bills and the Lions, of course, and the Bills getting that win on the road that way. and what might very well be a Super Bowl preview. I think a lot of people feel like it could be. You had neither defense look very good at all. Two offenses flex and probably show that they're pretty clearly the best two offenses in football. So, there's more competition at the very top, I think, than maybe we anticipated. Again, I ask this question all the time. If you were giving a true power ranking, how would you set it up? Most people don't put the Chiefs, despite having the best record by a couple of games, at the top of that. How many other teams? So now it's 3. Anybody else open your eyes to a way? Maybe it was the Packers, but probably the Eagles did for some people. I think we learned a lot about the Steelers and that they are very, very limited when they don't have George Pickens out there. There's no question about that. The Buccaneers appear to be finding their groove now with Mike Evans back from injury. The Broncos win despite looking pretty bad, honestly, on offense. Like there was a lot of things yesterday, I think, that were happening in the grand scheme of things.
I don't think that really anything changed for me necessarily yesterday. I mean, the Bills put up a bunch of points. They gave up a bunch of points as well. Now, they were able to get turnovers and that sort of thing. But I don't know. Really nothing changed for Buffalo. I think Detroit, really due to their defensive issues and injuries, and they've had a couple more come down today. I kind of have figured that between those two teams, they're a lot alike. The Bills and the Lions are a lot alike. Both of them can put up a bunch of points in short order, but they have defensive issues. Both teams do. I thought it was good that the Packers, they looked good. It was good for them to keep pace in the NFC North based on what they were able to do against the Seahawks in primetime. I don't really, to me, nothing changed as far as like my overall attitudes on any of these teams. I thought the Steelers and the Eagles, that game, I know ultimately Philadelphia pulled away at the end, and Pittsburgh played from behind basically the entire game. To me, it tells me what I've always thought about Pittsburgh. They're a good team. They're probably not a great team. They're probably not a team that I would put as a potential Super Bowl type team, but I do think that they're a playoff team. I do think that they are good, but I don't think that they're a team that, we're going to have to, look at potentially winning a Super Bowl. So for me, really nothing changed as far as my overall assessment on the top teams in both conferences.
It is very even, I think. Like the Steelers, when they have George Pickens, have showed us that they can beat anybody, right? But when they don't, they're just kind of like meh. They need Russell Wilson needs his deep threat to be effective in any way. The Bills give up way too many points. The Bills are the perfect example of if the Chiefs would go into the postseason, like that's when you need to run the ball. Like you've got to keep them off the field. I think the Eagles look good without looking good, right? That was the best they've looked, by the way, in a long time. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown kind of laughing after the game. Is that what you wanted? You could see that coming a mile away, that they were going to do that after all the chatter this week. Saquon didn't even look that good, and they outgained 2.5-1 the Steelers offense. Like Philadelphia's got they got the total package. I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts advocate, but I think what he does when he does it well is dangerous. The Buccaneers, Tommy, put 40 up on the Chargers. Mike Evans being back in that offense. Now they don't have, a very good defense, but that's a team that can make noise, right? In a scenario, and we're going to see one tonight in the Vikings. The Vikings are 11-2.
Yeah.
And I always am higher on the Vikings than the masses, and I haven't been as much this year. And it's the Sam Darnold effect. But man, their defense is spicy, and they got all kinds of weapons on offense that we know about. I can't wait to watch them tonight because I think that's a team that can beat anybody anywhere if Aaron Jones is like healthy and he appears to be kind of back on the right track. What don't the Vikings have, right? Like they've got everything you like to see out of a team this time of year. They're 11-2. They're still in the mix for home field.
They are. Yeah. And what I like about the Vikings a lot is that in the NFC, nobody's thinking about them.
Not at all.
The Lions, they're thinking about the Eagles. Those are the two teams that everybody is zeroed in on and focused in on. And you know what? Honestly, the Packers are lurking there too. The NFC North is a juggernaut. Even though the Bears have fallen off and they're not very good, like from top to bottom, the NFC North is the best conference in the NFL. Like bottom line.
There's no question.
Bottom line, it is. And what I again like about the Vikings is that they are flying under the radar. And I think it's solely because of who their quarterback is, even though he's been pretty damn good
really
this
good.
year.
Yeah, he's been good. I mean, they have wins early in the year over San Francisco, right before San Francisco had all their injuries. They smashed Houston. They went on the road and beat Green Bay. They lost to Detroit by 2, and then they lost to the Rams. And that was kind of the point where we're like, there's the Vikings for real. But then they've beaten Indianapolis since then. They went to Chicago and won a game. They beat Arizona. They've beaten Atlanta, doubled them up, like smashed Atlanta. And now they'll play a tough schedule the rest of the way where they play Chicago, Seattle, Green Bay, Detroit. So, look, we're going to find out. They have the most difficult path, I think, to that home field. But there are just – I just remember back to the offseason and before the season, it was like, how many contenders really are there going to be with the Chiefs? Like, how many teams could really contend? And at that point, it was like most people had the Ravens, the Texans, probably the Bengals at that point, not even really the Bills, because everyone thought the Bills were going to suck, right? Because they lost Stephon Diggs, and now the Bills are these juggernauts. I don't know why that happened. And the 49ers. And that was it, kind of. And now, like, you could make a case for 10 teams, like almost, just about, pretty close, right? Like there's a lot out there. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. It was a really fun day in the NFL yesterday, and then we get back to the Monday night doubleheader, which I am such a big fan of. I wish they would do this always. Like, I wish Monday Night Football would become a doubleheader like this. It's too easy to do it. Like, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? You know, like, it doesn't hurt anything. It's easy to schedule Monday night. They've got these 2 networks they can put them on. Just make it a doubleheader.
Yeah, I kind of like the whole staggering of the start times and all of that.
You don't have to sit through halftime. No offense to the halftime crews.
And you can have kind of a little bit of an earlier start, then it can go later. Like, you've got basically your whole evening taken care of. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with that.
It'll be good stuff tonight. Probably 2 outcomes, but two pretty good games, 2 interesting games, if nothing else. But that's all there for you. If you want to chime in on the Chiefs, the IHOP hotline is open at 869-1240. Let's take a break. Let's come back and let's get to some of the college basketball we saw this weekend. Both KU and the Shockers playing Saturday. Different outcomes. We have a Heisman winner. There's all kinds of news that we might be able to squeeze in today, but we'll make sure we get to college basketball, and we'll do that next. Don't go away. It's all Brockton Caster Sports Daily. Coming right back.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20-plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, You're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Win some free HTO right now, free iced tea, free coffee drink, iStore Hot. It's available to you. You can win one of each to either Wichita location or in Derby right now by texting the keyword T to the short code 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck, everybody. That's the keyword T to the short code 20357. Welcome back into Sports Daily. We've been talking a lot of Chiefs and Mahomes injury. You can always download the show on the Odyssey app if you missed anything and go back and listen to anything we've talked about. Just go to Odyssey.com or the Odyssey app. The show gets podcasted there for you. Take a listen. Let's talk college hoops now, Tommy. So we'll start with KU. We'll see where they move in the rankings, if at all. But an impressive win at home against NC State. Not a great team, not a bad team. 15 points. It was a game where, listen, what are we doing with Hunter Dickinson here? Like, what is that play? Like another flagrant? Like, what is happening with Hunter Dickinson, Tommy? I don't understand. Like, you're 24 years old. Make good decisions in a game. Am I the only one on this? Like, am I on an island here? It's driving me insane with him. He's a player that's been around long enough where he just should not make mental errors like that. And now we've seen 2 in key spots, and it's hurting the team.
I would love to know how what happened in the game over the weekend hurt the team.
That you just like that foul. Like, why are you doing that stuff?
Yeah,
but
how did it hurt?
Duke game?
How did it hurt the team? I didn't talk about the Duke game, but how did the
because it potentially gets you another flagrant 2 where you get kicked out of a game. Now it didn't.
How did it hurt the team? You said that what he did hurt the team on Saturday. How did it hurt the team?
I said you're potentially putting yourself into a position where you hurt the team. If you get kicked out of the game, it hurts the team.
You said that him with that foul hurt the team on Saturday, and they won by 15. There was nothing after the fact that made it hurt the team whatsoever.
You don't have any issue when he has dirty fouls like that?
I'm not debating that. I'm going back to what you said, that what he did.
I said whatever I said, he's putting himself in position to hurt this team too often. Like, you can't do that kind of stuff. When you're a senior, when you've been around that long, like, you can't within a game make those kinds of decisions. Like, you got to be smarter than that.
I mean,
they're too reliant on him.
I thought he played great.
He did play great.
And I thought
he played great, but he almost took himself out of the game.
No, he didn't. I thought that playing through him, it looked the most crisp that I think that the Jayhawks have looked in quite a while. I think that the spacing looked good. In fact, I think it's less about Hunter Dickinson and more about KJ Adams. KJ Adams is a great athlete, and he helps the team in a variety of different ways, but the offense runs smoother, unfortunately, when KJ Adams isn't on the floor. From the way that the spacing worked and they were able to play that inside-out ball that they want to play, I think that overall, I think it worked out really well. And what they were able to do offensively, again, the spacing, the passing, creating opportunities, creating shots, worked a lot better with Hunter in the paint by himself and then the 4 guards around him.
Well, but KJ Adams played more minutes. When was KJ? I mean, he was always on the floor in the game, almost the entire game, like he always is. Right. You just mean when he's there, do it differently.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And I think that he brings quite a few different things. I'm not suggesting that the Jayhawks don't play him at all, but I think that overall, when you've got, rather than having 2 players that are trying to work in the post, that's where I think we've seen the offense sort of stall out for Kansas. At least over the last couple of weeks, because there's just the spacing isn't quite there. I thought that was so much better on Saturday against NC State.
All right, 2 points of clarification, because I think we both accidentally misspoken right out of the gates here. KJ Adams was on the floor all the time. You're saying utilize him differently, not don't have him on the floor.
Correct.
I'm saying Hunter Dickinson cannot keep making mental errors that potentially takes him away from a game. We're 10 games in, and twice now he's had dirty fouls. Once it did take him out of the game. Now this time it didn't, but it was a dirty foul. And I'm just like, it's driving me crazy. Like, yes, they are clearly better when he is the focal point of the offense. I think the good thing is, and we talked about it last week, like, can Flory Badunga get up to speed to help Dickinson out defensively and to help Bill Self get him up, but he didn't need to in that game, and he looked good in that game.
I think you're way overreacting to what's going on with Hunter Dickinson, because he played a great game. I mean, he was a couple of assists away from a triple-double in the game, and they played through him, and they were able to create opportunities for those guards through him. Like, I think that, like, you're focused in on a foul that really ultimately was a nothing burger that didn't.
I'm focused on it because they're not.
But his performance was fantastic.
I understand his performance is fantastic. When he's not on the floor, they're not fantastic. So he cannot keep putting himself in position to potentially be taken off the floor like he was in the Duke game.
I just think you're making a mountain out of a molehill here. And there's really, like, I would rather focus on how much more improved and crisp and efficient they looked offensively, because they did, like, let's be positive about it.
Absolutely,
they were able to flip the script from a really terrible week the week before and have everything run through Dickinson, where he can facilitate and then he can get the ball, kick it back out to the guards. I thought that the guards shot the ball significantly better against the Wolfpack, even from long distance. Like, they were able to find those opportunities to be able to create that offense. I thought it was fantastic.
Griffin and Storr did not shoot it well. Zeke Mayo did. Zeke Mayo's been good. I like Zeke Mayo. Really well. But Griffin and Storr continue to struggle. And that it's been interesting because Coit only plays 10 minutes, but he continues to be effective to some degree when he's out there. I mean, I don't know what the other.
I mean, and I don't know, by the way, that Kansas had 19 assists on 30 made baskets in the game on Saturday. They were moving the ball so much better than what they did, number one, against Creighton, and then even against Missouri. Like, they did not move the ball well at all. And when they did move the ball, they were turning it over.
We're saying the same thing. I think I'm just more frustrated. Yeah, because my point is they must run the ball clearly through Hunter Dickinson, right? So he needs to be on the floor and stop making mental errors.
On the floor.
I understand, Tommy. He was not in the Duke game because of a flagrant foul.
3
He had
weeks.
another flagrant foul in this game that if the referees make a different decision and call it a 2, he's out of the game. Like,
Was it
why have the
flagrant
foul?
2?
It was not.
Okay, was the one against Duke a flagrant 2? Because I think that's up for debate. I'm not
I
sure.
think it was. They called it. They called it. So he left the game.
Sure, they did. It was a judgment call.
It was a judgment call. Why are you allowing them to make judgment calls by having flagrant fouls? You didn't need to fall and then tackle that guy. Like, it's not necessary. Players of his magnitude can't make those decisions. Like, you've got to be smarter than that.
I just think you're pulling what, is probably a footnote in the overall synopsis of the game, and you're pulling it up to make it the headline, and it's not anywhere close to being the headline of this game.
How good is this team if Hunter Dickinson's not on the floor is the question for me, and I think the answer is not good enough. I don't know if that's going to get any better without him on the floor. So I would love to see him not make decisions that potentially take him off the floor. And I don't think that's being unfair to a 24-year-old who's being paid the way he's being paid and who has that much impact and has that much experience on this team.
What does it tell you about, the emphasis that you're putting on this? When I'm going through, I'm scrolling through basically every single article, and not just KU articles, like articles in general about the game on Saturday, and there's nothing in any of them about that whatsoever. Like, it's nothing. It's nothing, but like, that's what you lead with. And like, I don't understand that.
I look, it's fine. You clearly don't care that he's getting flagrant fouls, and I do.
I don't think that it's the priority that you're making it. I don't think it's the importance that you're making it.
Okay, that's fine. We can disagree on that. I want to see the flagrant foul stop. That's it, because he's too important to this team. Like, he's way too important. He's everything to this team. He is, and he has been for 2 years. He is the key to Kansas's season. So my point is, be smart, be careful, keep yourself on the floor. It was interesting, I thought, in the game, as an aside from that Flory Badunga didn't play much. I assumed he would. He did not. That rotation continues to be the same. How much better do you think he can get as a freshman? I think we all like Badunga. We all like his upside. I just really hope he can be a key. I think if he can get into the mix by the end of the year, this team will be a lot. Like, it will take them to that next level. If they can get him up to speed by the time we're into those really critical late games, that could be what really helps this team be the best version of itself. Because I don't know, I don't know that Griffin and Storr are all of a sudden going to be, maybe they're just not the best fits, but Zeke Mayo is, and maybe that's enough. Badunga's the freshman. He's the one, to me, that has the most upside to get that much better. Does that make any sense? Like, he's
got upside for sure. I think the question becomes, what do you know about Bill Self? And what do you know about the way that he develops freshmen, and the way that once you get into conference play, and especially late in the regular season, what do we know about Bill Self and freshmen? And so I think that we need to temper those expectations a little bit. Can he provide good change of pace minutes? Can he come in and be able to, spell Hunter Dickinson? Sure. I think he can do that, but there's got to be a level of trust. There's a trust factor that is paramount, that trumps any kind of talent. And that's the way the Bill Self has always operated. And so regardless if he's got a significant upside and the ceiling is really high, all of that can be well and true and good. The question is going to be, has he entered into that, circle of trust that Bill Self has with freshmen? Because he values that over anything else. And you can even go back to just recently, and Bill Self even said that he has to find ways to, get guys like DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams and Hunter Dickinson more breaks, because they can't play 40 minutes a game, all three of them. But he doesn't trust anybody else to be able to do that. And so that's the most important thing to him. And that's going to be the biggest question mark about Flory Badunga down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. So McCormick didn't play much his freshman year. Doke didn't play much his freshman. Yeah, it's hard. I'd love to see them be able to acclimate him, and maybe he won't. I mean, who knows? But it is worth watching. Couple of comments here. Brandon says both were dirty. There's no need to do it. Rick says I watch all the games. He had the one flagrant last year. He's not a dirty player. Mike is saying something about Dennis Rodman. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he's too important to Kansas. That's my point. But there's a lot of chatter on both sides of that. It's fine. They look good. They got a 15-point win against NC State, right at the number. Sorry to all the bettors if you took KU. That was nothing. And now they play Brown this weekend, and then it's a long break. We're only 2 weeks from the start of conference play, but we're 2 weeks from the start of conference play. So it's going to be a minute. They'll have a lot of time to work on things. I think as far as a response, Tommy, to the week they had before, was great. It's a great
exactly
response.
what they needed.
Yeah.
Exactly what they needed. And at least it, provides this team, a little bit of momentum going into the final non-conference game. You're playing Brown. Really, what are you going to be able to take away from a game against Brown? I think that they needed to have a good showing in this game on Saturday to lead them into Big 12 play coming up after the start of the year. So I'm on board with what happened. I think that it was a good answer to a terrible week for the Jayhawks. And really, it wasn't just the fact that they beat NC State. It was how they did it and the way that they attacked, the way that their game plan lined out. It makes me feel better about where Kansas is right now and where things are going to be looking once they get into Big 12 play.
Let's take a break before we talk Shockers. The Shockers play a great half and a very bad half against DePaul. They end up losing the game by a very wide margin. I takeaways, I don't know what the takeaways are from that, but we'll try to dig into it a little bit when we return here on Sports Daily. You can keep your video comments coming, by the way. Facebook, YouTube, X is the place to go for that. You can still call us. The IHOP hotline is open. Or if you're listening on the Odyssey app, you can click that little microphone and leave us a voice message. All kinds of ways to get in touch with the show. We'll be right back. We'll talk a little Shockers when we return on Sports Daily.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love. and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor with you on a, what is it, Monday? We're now we got about a week and change before Christmas. Getting down to the nitty gritty here. You guys saw our kids found Santa this weekend too, so we've checked that off. And I'm the worst procrastinator when it comes to this stuff. I finally had to write out like, all right, here's who I need to get gifts for, and like the extended family. Do you do any Christmas shopping? Like, do you do any of it, or does your wife just handle everything?
I do a little bit of it. She is really good at taking care of a lot of it. But, now that we have kids, I want to feel like I'm involved.
Well, yeah. I don't even mean for your own kids. Yeah, buying for your own kids is the most fun thing for sure. But like all the extended family and stuff, it's
oh yeah, no, it's
hard because
she handles all of that.
My wife just buys everything online, so I have no idea where things stand. Like, where are we on this? That because I'm the one, this because I'm old man on the porch. Like, I will go out and I will go to the store and get something. And so I just it dawned on me how much of that I still have to do. And I'm just
do you pick out your wife's gifts? Like, do you handle all of that and wrap it all? Or what
the ones for her?
Yeah,
I gotta be honest. We really don't get each other anything anymore.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, it's been a few years of that. Like everyone, if there's something that just in passing, they're like, oh, that'd be cool. Like she might get me a shirt. I might get her basically why don't you do something you enjoy, like a workout class, or she loves to go play tennis or whatever it is. And I'm like, I'll just contribute to that. Like whatever. But there's not a whole lot of oh, here's this. But that goes for all the holidays. Like we don't really do any of that anymore.
I'm done trying to surprise my wife. I learned that a while. We talked about
never
it on the
goes
show.
well. Yep. Nope. It does not.
She's not a surprise. She would rather send me a link
go pick yourself
of
something
exactly
nice.
what she wants. and then I will order exactly to the specification on what she's looking for.
Yeah.
Wrap it, hand it to her. She knows exactly what it is already. And she is thrilled. She loves it. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to think about it. It makes it easier.
We do a gift exchange in my bigger family. So it's like, all right, you have, $50 limit, which is for me, it's always, I just get a bottle of liquor and a lottery ticket, a scratch off. And that's like half the gifts are that usually in the gift exchange. And then, all the women will get like some fancy candles or something and nobody ever wants it. Like they complain. They're like, why do you get the same thing every year? I'm like, because everybody wants it. And then they'll go like and spend all this time on something. And it's like, see how that one's still sitting there. Nobody wants that. Anywho, Merry Christmas, everybody. Shockers, Tommy, go to Chicago and they play DePaul. We loved that test for them. I was real optimistic. They look great, right? Things are going well. You got a halftime lead, and then boy, the second half unraveled on them quickly. Like just fell apart. And I can't even quite put my finger on it, to be quite honest with you. DePaul was making a lot of shots. Some of those were absolutely ridiculous shots. So I think that sucks whenever that happens, right? There's not a lot you can do about that, but it ends up being a 19-point loss, and that's going to hurt them down the road. That's the unfortunate. It's not so much that they went to DePaul and lost. It's that the end outcome made that just not good. And I don't know how much margin of victory weights into it later in the season, but that part of it does kind of suck. But they look good for a half, and then, man, it fell apart quick.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing for me is that we knew going into the game that DePaul shoots a lot from beyond the arc. That's what they do. That's their calling card. I mentioned that on Friday leading up to the show, that Wichita State was going to have to be prepared for DePaul to shoot a bunch of threes. They're one of the top shooting 3-point teams in the country. And unfortunately for the Shockers down the stretch, they just couldn't stop it. And to your point, there were some ridiculous shots that DePaul made that, what are you going to do? But then there were others, down the stretch where it just looked like Wichita State wasn't able to get to the position that they wanted to be in to defend the three good enough. And that was the difference maker. I think on top of that, too, Wichita State turned the ball over far too much. And that's something they haven't done much of this season, and it reared its ugly head on Saturday. So you combine those two things, the turnovers, and then just the fact that DePaul was able to shoot the lights out down the stretch from three, that ultimately doomed Wichita State.
Yeah, it's a bummer is what it is. It's a big old bummer. They'll get the K-State game still here. So unlike, they start conference play around not too much later than KU, for instance, but they get 3 games in that stretch. Which I think is good, which I think will be really good for this team. You get them all at home, you get them all at Koch Arena, just a sort of a reset before conference play. I don't think anything has ever changed. I doubt there is an at-large coming out of the American unless somebody like Memphis ends up being really, really good and doesn't win the conference tournament. So it really you just sort of stack them up right against the rest of the league and see where it goes. And I still like their chances there. Are they going to roll through the American? No, I don't think so. But can they be at in the top 3? I think certainly they can. They've moved down below, I think it's Florida Atlantic in most of the metrics. I haven't checked their net rankings yet. But you can, I do think this, a game like that, I think you can wash your hands of it pretty easy. Don't you? I think you can wash your hands of the DePaul game. If you're the Shockers, you couldn't make any shots in the second half and they made everything, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to.
I think you have to have a short memory with a game like that on the road. You're coming back to Koch Arena this weekend, which is, let's face it, the biggest home game of the season, I would think. And I know that you've got Memphis,
sure,
and you've got, Tulsa, you've got a couple of other home games in conference play, but I mean, come on, like this game inside Koch Arena, you're trying to avenge last season against Kansas State. I think that this is a huge opportunity for Wichita State. And we said it going into this stretch of 2 games for the Shockers that ideally they needed to get both of them, but they at bare minimum needed to get one or the other. And now their backs are kind of up against the wall. They've got to get this one on Saturday in front of your home crowd.
It can also, psychologically, I think, be a big deal, right? Can you imagine, because it's going to be, I'm sure it will be close to full, right, on a Saturday with as many K-State fans. Like, the energy at Coke should be the highest it is probably all season. And if you can win a game in that environment at home, I do think there's like an energy that comes with that kind of win that can carry over right into the start of the conference season. So, yeah, I think it does amplify because you lost to DePaul for what you just talked about. I think you need the win. But I also think it could go a long way in how they come out of the gates in conference season. If they can prove to themselves they can get a win like that. Because say what you want about K-State, and they've had their own struggles, that's a Big 12 team. And it's a Big 12 rival team, and Wichita State can easily use the big brother, little brother. They that can all go into it, and they can use it. And I do think it could mean a lot for the program if they can get it. Despite whatever happens with K-State by the end of this season, for the Shockers, it's a big game, and it'll remain a big game if they can win it.
I think that going into Saturday, it's gonna be really interesting to see the mentality of both the Wildcats and the Shockers going into the game. Now, the good thing for Wichita State is that they've got Kansas City, UMKC. They've got them tomorrow night, while Kansas State has Drake. So it's a much larger test for Kansas State. Depending on what happens against Drake, I think that's going to play into how Kansas State responds against Wichita State this weekend. It's a better warm-up week, I think, for Wichita State with their game tomorrow night. But I'm fascinated to know just the overall mentality of both of these teams leading up to the game on Saturday.
I am too. I think Wichita State's mentality is probably going to be fine. I think. I don't take too much mentally away from DePaul. Again, like, what are you going to do?
Don't you feel a lot more confident about Wichita State's prospects this season than when they played Kansas State a year ago?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So do I.
Not even close. Even without DeGray right now, not even close. You've got to remember last year, and it's hard to forget because they're off to this 8-2 start, right? What did they? I'm going to just check this real quick because I do think last year,
they started, 7-1,
7-1. Yep. And then I think got it out to like 10-1, right? And then the problem was when you hit that stretch of games and they had a win. Yeah, it was against St. Louis. Then you hit the Mizzou game and they actually kind of played well. And then South Dakota State got them. And then it just like the wheels fell off. And you can point at K-State or maybe Missouri, and then they just didn't win any more games. They won like 2, 3, 4 more games the rest of the year and then made their conference tournament run to give us some hope. But it wasn't all that different I think is the point we're both trying to make. Like, it's not all that different a start than we saw a year ago, but it feels much better than what we were beginning to see. We're to that same point of the season. I sure would like to see them, get into conference play with a little more momentum than they did a year ago.
They've got to get it done. And, especially after falling on the road to DePaul, you got to get the second of the 2 tough games to wrap up non-con. And that's this weekend in Koch Arena. It's a great opportunity. It should be, at least I hope it will be, a pretty packed crowd.
I think it will be.
It's going to be massive.
Paul Mills will talk all about it. You got the Paul Mills Show tonight at 7 o'clock right here on KFH. We'll tell you what else you can hear when we wrap up Sports Daily next.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20-plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, we got Monday Night Football tonight, but it will follow the Paul Mills Coaches Show here at 7 o'clock, talking Shocker basketball here from Coach himself, and then Monday Night Football coverage will join in progress at 8 o'clock. Good stuff today, Tom. A lot to all eyes on Patrick Mahomes and how he feels today. Andy Reid maybe will give us something, but I doubt it, but we'll watch it either way.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for what, though? That's what I still
That he's
don't know.
healthy, that he can play.
Well, yeah, that he's fully healthy, but if he's not, it's like, what do I want them to do here? I don't know. We'll continue to stew on it and talk about it a little more tomorrow after we hear from Andy Reid today. For Tommy, for Jad, I'm Jacob. We'll see you then.